If you're a fan of our show, you know that one talent we really enjoy is musicians. They're so fun to watch because of all the music they make. Music is like silence's adventurous step-cousin. Don't I know it is what your toes are saying right now. But did you also know that musician isn't the only talent about music? There's a talent called music knowledge. That's the ability to talk about music like you're a know-it-all. Here's Bryan Bedell demonstrating his talent, music knowledge.
I'm Bryan, and I love rock and roll music. I can talk about it all day. The part of my brain that's supposed to remember my mom's birthday is storing David Bowie's birthday instead. It's January 8th. I can name all the Beatles: John, Paul, George, Ringo, Pete, Stu, the other George, Brian, Billy, and Neil. Honestly, I don't like the Beatles that much. I love Hard Day's Night and Help, the movies, more than the records, actually, and there's some other good songs here and there. But mostly I think they're just trying too hard to make art instead of music, and it's kind of their fault that there are rock operas and pretentious bands like Radiohead. And it's Radiohead's fault they're even more pretentious and much worse bands like Coldplay and the Killers. And my friend Jane calls that beige music, and that's about right. The Beatles are interesting to talk about, though. My favorite Beatle was George, but you could probably guess that. Everyone bags on Ringo, but he was really, really, really good at being Ringo, and the Beatles wouldn't have been the same without Ringo. It bums me out that in most bands you get a couple people who think they're creative geniuses like Paul and John. And everyone thinks that that's what really makes the band great, but I think it's more about that specific combination of people that makes the band great. Like, look at the Pixies or the Velvet Underground. Lou Reed and John Cale thought they were so great, but neither of them ever came close to doing anything as good as the Velvets, again, without Sterling Morrison and Moe Tucker telling them to shut up once in a while. I think we're all creative geniuses, but most of us think our ideas are stupid and don't follow up on them. Lou Reed was convinced all of his ideas were amazing, and they were a lot of the time, but plenty of them were pretty stupid too. Knowing when ideas are stupid is just as important as having good ideas in the first place. You can tell a lot about people from the music they like. If I'm at someone's house, the first thing I want to see is their record collection. I had this one friend in the 90s who only owned like 3 Annie DeFranco CDs and like a Christmas CD. That's not right. How can you get through life on 4 CDs? I've worn out more copies of the Stone Roses' first album alone. My friend Kevin says if you ask someone to rank the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Kinks, and The Who, that'll tell you pretty much all you need to know about them. I like the Kinks the best, but you could probably tell. You could talk about this for hours and make a good argument for any of those bands. The Stones were the most consistent for sure. Pretty much all their stuff's good. I'd argue the best Who songs are better than everyone else's songs, but they had a lot of filler padding out their records, like Bellboy, and they gave us the rock opera. Music fans like to rank things, though. I like to rank the Go-Go's in order of cuteness. I know they're very smart, talented women that deserve respect, but sorry, they're also cute. In 1981, Jane was the cutest, followed by Belinda, Kathy, Charlotte, and Gina. Gina seemed old enough to be my mom back then. Nowadays, Jane's still up there, but Charlotte is sort of a suburban punk mom look that's pretty cute, and Gina doesn't seem any older than the rest of them anymore, or even any older than me. Belinda and Kathy are all right, too. They're all still pretty cute. I met Kathy once. She was nice. She was in this band called the Delphines for a while with Clem Burke from Blondie. Clem was in the Ramones for a while, too. He was Elvis Ramone. It stinks that all the original Ramones are gone now, but I thought it was unfair when Tommy died that all the magazines said he was the last Ramone, because you've still got Clem and, Elvis, and Marky was a drummer for years and years, and after Tommy, and CJ was bassist for a real long time, too, so there are a few other ones, too. You could still get 4 Ramones together, though they just play bass and drums, and I guess that wouldn't really be the same. I only saw them once after Dee Dee left, so it was Joey, Johnny, Marky, and CJ. It was in Columbus, Ohio. It was a great show from what I remember. I got kicked in the head by a combat boot when someone jumped off the stage, and I passed out for a while, but it was worth it. Everyone always talks about what bands they wish they'd seen, and definitely have. Everyone talks about which bands they've seen, and I've definitely seen a few. Definitely the Velvet Underground more than anyone else. It was one I'd love to see. I wish I had been there for that. But I got to see a ton of good bands in the 80s and 90s. You read about great clubs and scenes in LA and Seattle and DC and London and Manchester, but I moved to Chicago in the early 90s, and there were so many good bands around and great clubs, and I wouldn't trade that time or place for any other music scene. I used to go see bands 2 or 3 nights a week back then. I've kind of lost track of the scene lately, but I'm sure there are just as many great new bands as there ever were. In Chicago and everywhere, so I don't want to be one of those people that tells you what you missed out on. There's always great stuff out there. I still try to get to shows now and then and check out new music. Get out and see some new music and buy new records and CDs or MP3s or whatever. Just try to get some new stuff and keep following it. Music really helps you keep your head together. It's really important to me, and it should be to everyone. Whatever you like is fine with me, even if it's beige. You just gotta believe in it and take it seriously and enjoy it. If it's meaningful to you, that's great. I don't like Hall & Oates music much, but I sure liked it when De La Soul sampled them, and Hall & Oates seemed like nice enough guys. Phil Collins' music tortured me through the 80s, but I just read that his drum sound, which is really sort of the drum sound of all that terrible 80s pop music, came as a direct result of Phil being a big fan of Martin Atkins' drum sound on Public Image Limited's Flowers of Romance. And anyone who likes PIL is okay with me. Just don't make me listen to Sussudio. If you can find a deep personal relevance in Sussudio, there's something wrong with you, but there's pretty much something wrong with all of us, so that's okay. I'll listen to my 45-minute long Yo La Tango jams, you listen to your Phil Collins, and we'll be all right.
Well, Bryan, come on over. Thanks so much for telling us all about music. It's so good to have you on Steve Gadlin Star Makers.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Hey, when you think custom coffee gifts, think printkcups.com. With custom flavors and designs, their personalized single-serve coffee cups are sure to please clients, friends, and all the coffee lovers in your life. Printkcups.com for all your custom coffee gifting. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Steve Gadlin, the host of Steve Gadlin Star Makers. Thanks so much for watching our video. For more of tomorrow's stars of Hollywood and/or Broadway, click on my face to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I hope to see you again.